America has long been known as a country of immigrants. After the Civil War, in the late 1800s, steamships helped increase the flow of these immigrants. This cut travel time down to 2 weeks instead of the previous 3 months. They came from all over the world, but today we will be focusing on one group, the Poles.
Europe experienced a huge population growth, which meant that the cities were overcrowded and there was a lack of jobs and food, as well as a scarcity of arable land. Many people faced religious persecution, like the organized village attacks against Russian and Polish Jews. On the other side, America seemed like the perfect place to be. The idea of a free and democratic society was incredibly inviting. There was an abundance of natural resources and jobs for unskilled laborers, and what made all of this seem even better were the American letters that previous immigrants would send home to their families. Immigrants came for various reasons to our shining country, known as push and pull factors.
So, during this time, approximately 5 million Polish immigrants made their way to the U.S. A wave of violent anti-Semitism that overtook Poland, as well as many farmers losing their land, were just a couple of push factors to America. Once they reached American cities, Poles, like so many other immigrant groups, would stick together in their own clusters. Because so many Poles were Roman Catholic, churches were the centers of their communities. Polish families were generally working class and joined the masses of unskilled laborers who took on cheap, lugubrious jobs. Over time, of course, these immigrants and their children assimilated into American society.
Here in Seattle, we have our own community of modern-day Polish immigrants, and the Polish Hall is a center for Polish culture.
The Polish Home Association was founded in 1918 and has since been a small corner of Seattle for Polish people to come together and keep their culture alive through song, dance, food, art, and so much more.
First question is, when did you come here?
In December of 1949.
Okay, who did you come with?
I came with my mother, my father. We came on a Navy troop transport ship.
Why did you come here?
We came because we were refugees living in Germany after the war ended, because that's where we were at when the war ended. And so we never went back to Poland. We filled out our papers and applied for immigration to the United States.
Was it difficult for your family to become citizens, or did they become citizens?
Yes, we became citizens. It's not difficult at all, but it takes time, because once you arrive as an immigrant, you have to wait 7 years before you can take your citizenship papers.
What was it like for your family when you first came here?
It was really strange, because we came from a place with weather like this, like in Seattle, and with mountains and rain and cool weather, to Texas, where it's totally different weather, where it's hot, it's semi-tropical. So yeah, it was weather-wise, it was different very much for us. And us kids, we learned English very quickly, so we were translating for our parents all the time. So that's a very common thing for.
Did you still have family in Poland that you kept in touch with?
Yes, my mother and father kept in contact with cousins. They were able to find them after the war.
Did they come over to America later?
No, the ones that were in Poland, because the border was closed, you couldn't just leave Poland at all the time. It was still behind the Iron Curtain. And we had relatives in Germany at the time who stayed in Germany and became, German residents.
Is there anything else that you would like to let people know about being a Polish immigrant?
Oh, it's a great adventure. Everybody who comes here really enjoys it. And I've had the opportunity to host people straight from Poland, and their first impressions of America is amazing. Because everyone is very impressed with how people are so open and free. I know that we took a relative from Poland that come from Poland for a visit after filling out all the papers and everything. We took him for a tour of Washington State, and for instance, we went to the dam, Diablo Dam, and they were so impressed that there aren't any guards around the dams, and our power plants, and our train stations, and our airports. There are no guards, no security guards, nobody standing around with guns. And in Poland, everything, even though it's behind iron curtain, everything's supposed to be secure. At that time, there's always guards, always people with guns standing everywhere.
We've learned some fascinating and important things about the history of immigration and the experiences of Polish people. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Immigration Nation.
Now bite into the pear.
No. I just can't.
Duck, she can still see you.
I have her in my vision because it's like, oh my god.
She's the only reason you're messing up.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
No.
Say like on the other side, because you're
The
being
other
like, so
side.
these were push factors, these are pull factors, you know.
Society was incredibly.
Hang on, I don't think we have enough cars going past.
Immigrants came. Lucia.
I swear to gosh.
Get all this done, so.
You thought I'd be leaving? How dare you?
No, because I know you're leaving at like 5 or whatever. So
Yeah,
like,
but she is leaving too.
I know, it's like I didn't get all this done, that's why.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're efficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Immigration Nation.
Okay. We're gonna do